Hey everyone, Art Burns here, wishing you well today, and I hope you're all having a great day. So last night, as I do every Sunday night, I had another amazing webinar about stress reduction. It was such a great group. It's a great group every single week. I am so fortunate and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to help, to give so many people some great information week after week about stress reduction and how, and in this webinar we go over I pretty much give people everything they need to do it on their own if they have the commitment to do it, and it's so rewarding. And again, I'm so grateful and welcome to all of you. The group from last night is just receiving this email for the first time, and so every day now you're going to be receiving a new email with a link to a video like this one, and believe me, there's no hard feelings if you want to unsubscribe. I understand how emails get, and so no hard feelings. But if you'd like to subscribe to the YouTube channel, you can do that and avoid the emails, or you could also go on my podcast and subscribe to that. It's basically the same content. The podcast is called the Mindful Manager podcast, and you can check that out as well. And so, but I just wanted to say thank you and welcome for being here and for checking out the webinar last night. So when I tell people that I work in stress reduction, right, almost everyone says, I need that, right? Like that's something that everybody wants, right? Because we all have stress in our lives. In fact, the statistic is 77% of American adults experience chronic stress, meaning every day you're getting into that place of hyperarousal from stress, right? Which is not good for us, okay? It's really, really dangerous for our health. But 77%, and that's even before coronavirus and COVID-19, right? So now I would guess that if they did this survey now, which they probably can't because they don't have enough people in the office, everybody is working from home and stuff. But if the American Institute of Stress did the same sort of survey now, I'm sure it'd be in the 95% or 97% or something even higher. Like it's really, everybody feels stress on and more people are feeling chronic stress, and that's where it's like I said, when we're in chronic stress, that's not what our body's meant to do, and it's very dangerous. So when I say that I'm in stress reduction, when I help people with stress reduction, 77% of the people who I say that to tell me I need that. How can I do it, right? And then when I go on to say though that I use mindfulness and meditation to achieve stress reduction among some other things, everybody's like, oh well, I don't know how to meditate. I have too many thoughts to meditate. I don't have the time to meditate. I've tried meditation years ago and it just didn't go for me. I didn't like it. I can't sit in that position. All these different things, and they it just rolls out, right? And I'll be honest with you, I used to feel the same way about a lot of these things, right? And so today I'm here to dispel 4 of the most common myths that I hear from people when I talk to them about meditation, right? And again, I used to feel these too. So it's not something like if you're sitting there and you're identifying with any of these, it doesn't mean you can't do it. Okay, that's why they're myths, right? But I used to buy into a lot of these ideas too. And so I can't tell you how much, these things kind of kept me from doing meditation for years and years and years. And had somebody back then told me what I'm about to tell you, that these things are just not necessary, you don't have to worry about them, I would have been, reducing my stress years ago. Okay, so let's go through these. Okay, there's 4 of them. Believe me, there's many more than 4 myths about meditation and mindfulness that we could probably go through. But in the interest of time, and because it's a nice round number, it's the 4 seasons, the 4 directions of the wind, the 4 pillars of mindfulness. We'll kind of stick with 4. Okay, so the first myth that I hear, from so many people, right? The most common one, I think, number 1 and number 2 are pretty much equal, but the first one that I hear people talk about all the time when I say, oh, well, I do meditation, or I say, have you ever meditated, or would you like to learn how to meditate, anything like that, I hear, well, I can't sit like that. right? I can't do it. My hips hurt. I have a bad back. I can't sit like that, right? Like that's what I always hear, like that. And so of course I say, well, like what, and of course the typical, image and vision that people have of meditation is sitting in what is known as the lotus position, right? Which is where you're sitting on the floor with your legs crossed, your hands doing something, fancy like that. And I get it, I really do, because that's what you see. If you close your eyes, or if you go on Google and type in meditation, you're going to see 100 pictures of people like that, right? People associate it generally with yoga, so they feel like, well, I've never done that, I'm not flexible, I can't, I don't know, all this kind of stuff. And so the bottom line is, though, I don't get in that position either. Okay, I have a bad back, I have bad hips, I have bad knees. It's hard for me. I'm 51 years old. I'm not flexible like that, so I can't start that now in my life. So I don't do that either. And in fact, some of the most accomplished meditators who I've ever met don't do that either. Right now, some of them do, and there is definitely a place for that. Right, there's definitely like a certain aspect of meditation that if you're following that particular aspect, then yeah, maybe that is something that you want to do. Like there is a place for it, and there is a benefit for it. I don't even it's not something that I concern myself with. And so the point that I'm trying to make, and the way that I'm dispelling this myth, is to say that you can really meditate in virtually any position. Okay, there's no need for any special mats or cushions or gongs or like this thing back there. Like you don't need that. I got it because I need something to just make a chime sound for my meditations that I do with people, just to make it a gentle sort of sound. But it's not necessary. It's absolutely not necessary. In fact, like I said, you can meditate in any position, right? You can be lying down, you could be sitting in any given chair, you could be walking, you could be standing, you could be doing anything, right? So it's not necessary to get into any particular position. The only thing that's necessary is to simply be intentional about that position. Right? But for most people, for all my clients, I mean, I start out with a chair, just any chair in your home. Just sit with your feet flat on the floor and your hands just gently resting in your lap. And the one thing that we do want is we want to be in a position of like a alert position, right? Something that is upright, but not like, but not too rigid that you're going to be tired and distracted by that. And the reason why we want it to be upright and alert is segueing into myth number 2, right? Myth number 2 is, and this is like I said, number 1 and number 2 are pretty much equal. I hear everybody say, or so many people say, I can't meditate because I have too many thoughts, right? Now, I get it. Okay, again, I'm not here to judge, and I'm not here to say you're wrong, and I'm not here to say that you're, that you got to figure it out or anything like that. But and I'm not here to insult you, of course. But the fact of the matter is that we all have a lot of thoughts. Every single one of us. In fact, the average human being thinks over 60,000 thoughts a day. Okay, so there's no such thing as a human being who has less thoughts than a one that has more thoughts, right? It's just something that we do. The mind creates thoughts like the ocean creates waves, right? It's just what it does, and it does it all day, every day, even while we're sleeping, right? So there's no point in trying to stop that. And so myth number 2 is that people feel that meditation is about calming the mind or resting the mind or somehow relaxing themselves, right? Not what it's about. Okay, now again, I'm sure there are certain aspects of meditation. Yes, there are relaxation exercises. I'm sure there are ways in which you want to, I'm sure there's different applications out there. I mean, there's, meditation is a very broadly defined word, right? But for the purpose of what we do with stress reduction, right? The idea of meditation is that it's a skill building exercise. Okay, it's a skill building exercise, and the skill that we're trying to build is the ability to focus our mind. Okay, one wonderful metaphor that I tell everybody is picture yourself standing on a street corner in a busy city, and on that street corner you're watching hundreds of taxi cabs just drive by this street corner, right? Now you have the choice. You have two choices here. One, you could put your hand up, have one of those taxi cabs pull over to the curb, you get inside, he takes you across town, you have to pay a fare and tip the driver and all that, right? Or the second choice is you could just sit there and stand there on the corner and let the taxi cab just drive by, right? So the idea of meditation is that we train our mind to be able to focus on one specific thing. The way that I work is we focus on the breath. And as we focus on the breath, all of those thoughts, right, they just go by, just like taxi cabs. Okay, you have the choice whether you want to attach to yourself to one of those thoughts and follow it, or to simply let it go. So the skill that we build through meditation is the ability to let those thoughts go. Okay, so it's not about calming the mind. It's not about, it's being disqualified because you have an active mind. It's just about training yourself and building a skill. And so that's myth number 2. Now, myth number 3 is a very common one also. I mean, these are all very common. Myth number 3 is that meditation is too hard and takes too much time, right? And I can't do it. So the first thing is that meditation is not hard, right? Meditation is about allowing things to happen, right? And as I said just before, it is a skill building exercise, but what we do is we build a skill in the way that is comfortable to us, and kind of we allow it to sort of flow, rather than it's not like doing a workout where you're doing 500 push-ups every day or else you fail. It's about, most of my clients start out with 2 minutes a day, maybe 3 minutes a day, right? And then you build up over time as you start to develop the skill. It's less like working out in a gym or pushing yourself in some kind of weight loss regimen than it is, it's more similar to think of like a baby learning to walk, right? Like a baby takes, first standing up, right, is the big challenge, right? And then taking that first 1 or 2 steps and then falling down, and taking 1 or 2 steps, falling down, taking 1 or 2 steps, falling down, doing that for 3 weeks, and then taking 5 steps, right? And then falling down like that for another week, and then after another week you take 10 steps, and then before you know it, now you're walking across the floor. So meditation is much more like that. And the time aspect, right? People think, well, I don't have the time for meditation, right? And the fact of the matter is that when we do meditation, and this is something every single one of my clients tells me, and something that I learned on my own as well, is that as we do the meditation, we realize how much time we've been wasting with the overthinking, attaching ourselves to those thoughts and following those taxi cabs through our lives. So in fact, time sort of expands as you do this work, as you're paying attention to what's going on, in meditation, and then outside of meditation in just everyday life, because again, it's a skill that you're building. And once you build that skill, you're able to do that in every aspect of your life. And then you realize you have much more time than you ever thought you had before. Okay, and I've had clients who tell me, I was late for work the other day, I was 5 minutes late, and I thought I should skip my meditation, but instead I said, well, I'm late anyway, so let me do my meditation. And she wound up getting to work on time and in a much better frame of mind, and she wasn't as late as she thought she was. And in fact, that's what I mean. You have much more time than you think you do, because so much time is wasted by that sort of monkey mind and overthinking everything in our lives, right? Okay, now number 4, and this is a big one, okay? Meditation will make me too passive, and I won't be as productive. It will take away my edge, right? So usually I get snarky and I say, well, Bruce Lee was an avid meditator, so is Steven Seagal. So, martial artists are typically very avid meditators. And so you wouldn't consider them soft or without an edge, right? But in honesty, what it is, again, it's a skill building exercise. It's not about passivity. energy. It's not about relaxation. It's not about sort of relaxing. It's not about any of that. It's about building a skill. And when you build the skill, and the specific skill that we're talking about again is the ability to focus the mind and to let go of distractions, right? So in fact, the opposite is true, right? It does not make you less productive. It does not make you more passive. It actually makes you more targeted, more focused, and more productive than before. Okay, now again, these 4 myths, these are just 4. I mean, there are plenty more that you can think of. And if you'd like to discuss them, if you have some other reason that meditation you feel holds you back, and again, everybody's different. So I'm sure there's many reasons that I don't even think about. And if there is any, or if there are any, please send me a message. Let me know what they are, and I would love to. I'll do another video like this to dispel the other myths if you'd like, or I could just get back to you and let you know, how perhaps the myths that we hold around meditation are not accurate, and how meditation can benefit you in spite of the myth that you believe. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video. I appreciate you, and thank you for listening. And again, welcome to everybody into the group here. And I'll look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. And I wish you well. Take care.